Penny Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Not even...
I love him!
He's so relatable.
Yeah.
Even in foreign language.
Did she just slap him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mind your business, Michael.
Spend a Saturday night alone together and see what happens.
Shut up, Shannon.
Right into each other.
Shocking. Shannon's horrible.
Boon's a little bitch.
Boone is a little bitch.
Messed up my ride, Chief.
I love him.
I mean, that was a solid kick. I'm just...
That was. It was a good kick.
English? Didn't see that coming.
A lot just happened. I thought that was going to have a happy ending. Wow. Reveals after reveals.
Unexpected.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds for Lost episode 17 in translation. So Gregg, Michael, Kevin, Kristin, and I are here to talk about another episode centered around Sun and Jin and their relationship, and a lot of big stuff also happens in this episode. So it's going to be exciting to talk about, but what are your guys' thoughts on this episode?
I just can't believe we're already 17 episodes in.
I know.
Yes.
We're flying. We're going to be done before we know it. Yeah, another great emotional episode. I feel like the Sun and Jin episodes are always very heartfelt and emotional character pieces. So this was just a continuation of what we got with the first one, and even the flashbacks kind of intertwine with each other. It's you could watch them put together in order of the full story of that, how Jin became the person he became.
Yeah. I absolutely noticed because certain things connected to a past flashback, and then I'm assuming certain things are going to connect to future stuff. So, as we will probably discuss, and I'm sure
Michael and I did that together.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. I mean, Michael, do you have any interesting production notes before we have Kristin take us away with the synopsis? All right.
I don't have any notes. I would say that I think that there were a lot of really well done things in this episode, like subtle things that like when they are when Kate and Sun are in the tent, before the person they notice runs by, we see somebody else run by, little things like that. So we're already looking wait, did something just happen in the background? And then a few seconds later, we see a bigger shadow. So there's a lot of really well done subtle things like this in this episode.
I mean, we've talked about that a lot, that Lost is the attention to details is unmatched for sure.
Yeah. I have one production note.
Go for it, Gregg.
This is the only Jin-centric episode.
Oh,
really?
I had that written down too, yeah.
Every other episode is him and Sun or with other people.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah, they're often just like seen as a pair. So
Yeah.
it was nice to have one that really focuses on his character. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kristin, you ready to take us away with a synopsis of
Yeah,
translation?
the notes that I've written down. There's so much that happened in this episode. We do start off with Jin sitting on the beach, kind of just having his moment, and we immediately jump into a flashback. We didn't really have anything that happened on the beach before we got a flashback, which is interesting, because it all goes down right after that. But in that first flashback, we see that this is the moment that Jin is asking her dad to marry her. And we knew that, from that previous episode that Sun was like, he'll never allow this and blah, blah, blah. So now this is us getting to see the background, the back part of that, where, gosh, he's such a jerk. Why should I let you marry my daughter? Like, what, like, he's just so mean about it. But I have to, there's a line in here that just makes my heart turn into mush every time. And he's like, why would I let a man marry my daughter and get rid of his dreams so easily? And he says, because she's my dream. And it's just like, oh, it's the most like, but this is where
Emotional, but also tragic though, because like that was true, and then we see how this relationship's disintegrated. It's just so sad over the course of this episode to where we end up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that that's what makes it turn into like you more into mush because of how sad this relationship is. But this is obviously where he has made the deal with the dad that he is going to go work for him. Because then you saw in the previous one that he comes out and tells Sun, yes, I'm going to go work for your father. That leads us to the beach where Sun has this brilliant idea to come out in a very well done bikini because that girl is hiding an amazing body. Go Sun. Like,
yes. Look at those abs. She looked amazing.
She's very, very well done wearing that bikini. But with your husband, I don't know why we thought that this was going to go over well. Because
I don't know what she thought was going to happen.
I don't either. But as we see, Jin goes right to the moment. He's covering her up. He's screaming at her. They're getting into this little fight. She's like, but like, look, I look hot. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, cover up.
We're on a beach.
Right. Right.
These are the unofficial Kristin subtitles.
Yeah, basically what's happening. But yeah, so then we do see like, everybody's kind of in the background like, ugh, not again. They're at it again, where Michael does walk up and, what's going on? And Kate's like, he just started going off on her. But we do see him start to drag Sun away where she falls. And so Michael's like, oh, I'm not letting this happen. So he runs up and he's like, bro, like, calm down. Like, and then of course, Jin is just, why are you here? Like, this is my business. Like, back off, But then we see Sun slap Michael. Like, Michael was trying to help you and break this up. So, damn, girl, like, that's not very nice. But then we see them back at the caves, and you kind of get where she was going with this to slap Michael is we'd hear Jin kind of accuse her of what's going on between the two of you. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, literally nothing. We're like, it's Michael, like, whatever. That does lead us into our second flashback, which is the wedding. Not much happened there, but basically they weren't going on a honeymoon and he has to, make something big for himself or her dad. But I want to stop there because this is like a huge kind of major opening and thoughts. So Jake, where were you at in this moment?
Well, at first, like the opening flashback starts, and I'm like, oh, this is an amazing moment from Jin, and like, he actually really cares for Sun. Like, I mean, we saw that in their first episode that was centered around them, but like here, just to be like, I love her and she's the woman of my dreams, and then it goes to them on the island, and I did notice, like, obviously, some cultures like they want their women to be covered up. So I figured it was that type of situation. And then I was at first confused why Michael got slapped, but then I'm like, okay, then obviously they explain why, and I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense. But it was just like a little shocking that she went and slapped the guy who's trying to help break the situation up. So yeah, I really liked that, like, at first we're like super into Jin and like what, that we see the heartwarming stuff, and then, we get into him maybe not being so heartwarming as we just were shown. So, it's interesting to see how complex of a character, and most of these characters are complex, so it's interesting to see.
Anybody else?
I loved your reaction when she slapped Michael. You were like, "Wait, did she slap him?"
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Oh my god! Anybody else in this opening?
I just love Sun and Jin. Like rewatching this again, like now for my third time, I'm just like I know in my head that I love Sun and Jin. I'm watching them and I'm like, I do just love them so much. Like, and I felt bad for all of them when she had to slap Michael. Like I felt bad for like they all were like unintentionally doing the wrong thing. Like, and I like they were all trying to do the right thing, but doing the wrong thing. And like it just, I was like, no, please love each other. Just love each other.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered everything with Jake and Kevin that I thought about it. I just think Michael. It's not Michael's place to step in, and we do see, the explanation later on of why Sun did it. But I do like that Michael was the only one that really did try and diffuse the situation, because the rest of the cast were kind of like, oh, they're at it again. It's like, but no one's really helping, and it speaks to the isolation of those characters as well. Obviously, a couple of people know Sun speaks English at this point, but not most.
I don't know about you guys' screens, but on my TV, it wasn't showing the subtitles when they were on the beach.
Oh.
So I don't know, like if you have subtitles on or whatever, like maybe it does. But like for me, it was only showing them in the flashback, which again goes to that isolation of like everyone's just kind of watching and like, oh well, that's them, right? And so like Michael is trying to do the right thing and like, no, like let me go help this person, and I have this relationship with her, I can help her, but like actually no, don't do that, Michael. Like, and not just because it's not your place, but like specifically, this man is not going to take this well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys have already started talking about it, but moving on to our next little bit here, Michael is obviously at the raft. He is well on his way of building this raft, but Sun comes up to apologize and kind of explain the situation. She's like, you don't understand what he's capable of. I was protecting you. Like, you have no idea. And he's like, it's fine, whatever, I get it. Like, not my place, like, whatever. We see that Jin and Hurley have a moment where Hurley tries to come up to Jin, like, bro, you need to relax. Like, I love that he brings, like, I'm assuming are like 2 little fishing poles. Like, what are you doing? We've already established you are not the fisherman, but it was cute that you tried.
It's like just the cute, like he's just trying to help. Like, hey, let me take your mind off it.
It was cute, but Jin is having, no, he's not, he's like, let me whack some rocks or whatever they're whacking out there. We have Shannon and Saeed, but they're like starting to have this little, I had to do it. I cannot. She just irks me. Like, listen.
Really? Does she?
She
I have no idea.
A lot.
Hey,
you've not really made it very obvious.
Newsflash to you, Kristin. Similarly, I don't like John Locke. Did you know?
You have a horrible reason for that. Like, I mean, Locke is helpful. We've established this. But we do see Shannon and Saeed, like they have been hanging out a little bit more, but now we're starting to see that this is getting to be a little bit of like a what's this about to turn into situation. We see, Michael and Walt having their moment where he's talking about, I want to take you to New York. This is what got me into art. Like all these things, a lot of different interactions here in this next clip, because I mean, there's a lot of different, we talked about character arc in this episode that you're seeing these little bits and pieces where they may not be huge, but like it is just those little things that are continuously growing them. We even have Kate and Sun talking in the tent, and she's like, now mind you, at this point, Kate and Michael are the only ones that know that she speaks English. She's like, why? Like,
do they each other know? Like,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, they do, because she says only Michael knows when she does tell.
That's true. She tells Kate only.
But I don't think Michael knows Kate knows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, probably not. But yeah, I mean, we even see Kate here going like, why do you let him treat you this way? Like, what? Like, she's like, but he's my husband. You don't understand. He's a great person. He didn't always used to be like this. And she's like, well, okay, but he's like this now. Like, what's going on? To which we have our first like huge moment of this episode. The raft is on fire. The raft is not just on fire. It is
the raft is on fire.
Right. But it is like a massive fire. This is a huge fire that is going. Listen, I don't know how nobody noticed it until it became this massive thing. I mean, it is at nighttime, so you would think, I mean, it's gonna start off small. How did we get to this massive blaze?
No. As we find out later, Jin did notice, and he tried to put it out. So not no one
there
noticed.
yet. So way to like spoiler alert for the people that are catching.
We've watched the episode.
I was gonna say who is starting our Lost series 17 episodes in?
But yes,
we had to watch this before the episode as well. That would be a wild way to experience the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, we do see that Jin did try to stop him. But yes, so huge. I mean, massive thing here. I kind of want to stop here because then our flashback we get a lot too, and I don't want to kind of put the two together. But I wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on all these little interactions that we've got. Of course, the raft fire. So I kind of want to leave it here and then jump into that next flashback. So what are your guys' thoughts? Gregg?
I just want to shout out Michael's craftsmanship on the boat. It looked awesome.
Yes.
Aside from the fact it burnt like in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a good old raft.
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely shocked when like the raft started burning. I was like, why are people like running? Because you could see the shadows, and then I'm like, okay, something's happening, and it's like, oh, the raft's on fire. And of course, my first inclination is to think, okay, they want us to believe it's Jin. I'm still believing it's John Locke at this point. That is,
I knew you would.
He has a moment where you're like, Locke, what you doing there, buddy?
Yeah.
When he just grins, like,
Yeah, I'm like, Locke knows something, and then we're gonna find out. Well, we know what he knew, and he did call it out later on. So I'm not sure what that means for other things in the past episodes where I'm like, did John Locke do this? Or, I'm assuming we'll find that out. But I'm still not out on, John Locke has definitely been doing things, I think, to have them not make it off the island. So
turns out it was Walt that attacked Saeed.
Yeah, I don't think a kid would be able to do that, but you don't know.
I really liked the moment with Michael and Walt. Like, I just really appreciate how much he wants to be a good dad.
Yes,
he really wants to love his child, and he wants his child to have the best life possible. And like, I like seeing that. And I will listen. I hate egging Kristin on. I don't love Shannon and Saeed together. I never have. Like, I don't dislike them, but like, it just kind of seems random.
Yeah, I agree.
But I did like when he went to Boone, and he's like, "No, I'm not asking your permission. I'm just like don't make a scene." I do like.
He's just trying to be nice.
Yeah, like, I'm just being nice and letting you know that like this is going to happen, and like, don't be a little bitch about it. And then he's a little bitch about it.
Well, we're getting to that part.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm keeping my small moments. I'm getting them out of order. I'm sorry. I don't have.
Can you take a chill pill? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll let Kristin get to that before I share my thoughts on it.
Oh, that you hate Shannon too? It's okay. Like,
well, I didn't say I hated Shannon. I just don't necessarily know that I buy into that relationship. But I'll let you get to it.
Oh, I do. I can't wait. From this little section, I just like to highlight the small moment between Hurley and Jin. I really like to bring these moments up because Hurley is often just seen as the comedy character, and he is really funny and he's really sweet.
Yes.
But like we talked about when Hurley went to Saeed to deal with Charlie's trauma after the Ethan thing, and then here, he's trying to go to Jin and communicate where he can, and he had that experience with the fishing, so he's going to him with fishing rods, and it's just a really nice thing that he's trying his best to include the guy. And I just love those little moments with Hurley like that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was gonna say I remember the first time I didn't notice those as much. And I do notice them now more. Like I notice more of the characters, and like he is like not just nice, he is like outwardly trying to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always like trying to uplift people.
Yeah.
Like he's such a good guy. He's just great. I love Hurley.
I kind of want to talk on a moment here that I think can get overlooked, but it shouldn't. It's the Kate and Sun moment. We see this a lot with women that are battered women, abused by their partners. And the rationale behind it of, well, we used to, like, it didn't used to be like this, or it didn't, he could turn back, like, he does love me, all these things that I think should be highlighted because, you know, it shows how difficult of a situation that is, because you, especially when you had it good for so long and then it's turned into this now just horrible thing that everybody's like, why aren't you just leaving him? And it's like, you don't understand the connection, the love, the everything we've built up until this point. And so I think that is a way that Lost like really did well to bring in kind of a very serious situation and that a lot of women face, where I felt that they probably in that moment are watching this going like, oh, said that line. Oh, I've made that excuse. Yeah. And so I just think that was something that definitely needs to be mentioned because it's, you know, it's a powerful, like 2 seconds. Like it was a very short piece because obviously then we have the raft, all of it that happens. But I think that it's a very important piece to put in there. And I think Lost did an amazing job by doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they do a good job too of like they present the relationship in a way where like we understand how some people would dismiss it all as just cultural, and we see that there is some like change in behavior and there is more controlling behavior, but also some of it is cultural. Like some of it is more like yes, she was supposed to be taken care of by him, and he's like there is some culture in it, but there is also like another part that is a problem. So like I think they handle that well, even with having this language barrier.
Yeah.
And then from his side, like having, you know, being put in this position with this piece of shit dad that's making him do these awful things, and this isn't the life he wanted. He just wanted,
right,
you know, to provide for Sun, and now he's having to do this stuff. It's like it's tragic on all sides.
Yeah. I mean, this leads us into our flashback where we start to see the beginning of this. We see that Jin does get a promotion. With that promotion, I need you to deliver a message. It's almost like instantaneous. Like, here's a promotion, but I need you to do something. He wants him to deliver a message, and Jin is like, "Oh, okay. I guess I can go deliver a message."
I love this.
I love Jin's face in this because it does show where we lead up to, right? Where he's like, you can't just like send an email. Like, why am I delivering this message? But okay. So we do see him go over to this guy's house, and he comes in and he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm here from Mr. Pike. And he's like, oh, come on in. Okay, yep, come on in, like, let's talk. You kind of see that this guy is instantly nervous, but you're not sure why. We do see this is the moment where we saw Hurley on the TV. Yes, Jake's very minimal reaction to that. But yes, Hurley was on the TV in the background. What that means, we don't know. But we see Jin kind of talking. He's like, okay, he needs to, he's kind of displeased with you. I have to deliver this message. And he's like, please, my daughter's here. Like, let's not do this. And he's like, no, it's fine. Like, he's just open up the factory. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, it's totally fine. And the guy's like, oh, okay. All right, cool. Yep. No problem. Here's my dog. Okay. Like, so obviously this is we don't understand yet what this is actually meaning, but like, obviously something major happened where he's like, take my dog. Like, here you go. Championship breed. Like, out of nowhere, take my dog for nothing, like, just because you gave me this message. So Jin's like, no, I don't want your dog. He's like, no, take the dog. Obviously, this is where, from like Sun's flashback,
Yeah.
this is where she came home and she had found the dog. So obviously, this is where her dog comes from. But yeah, I want to unpack this flashback because it's kind of a bigger one. But what were your guys' thoughts on as you're watching it? Jake, I want to come to you first because like we've seen this, so we know, but like what are your thoughts right now in this moment of seeing, obviously we know later on in the episode, but what were your thoughts? Did you understand why he was so relieved? Did you get an idea, like were you not understanding? What were your thoughts there?
Well, I assume that he knows he's in like a bad business, or like just in terms he knows how dangerous this guy is, so like he's just thankful that delivering a message is just being nice, Jin being nice and just being like, yeah, just do this please, and then he's giving him a gift in return just to keep everything happy and nice. So that's kind of how I took it, I guess. And yeah, it was yeah, as soon as it flashed the TV, I was like, is that Hurley? And then I was like, okay. So I'm glad I did catch that watching, and gave my very minimal eyebrow raise.
For anybody that's watching this is so like exactly Jake, because he's like, I saw Hurley on TV and I was like, okay. Like, all of us, like, and we've all seen it, we're all like, Jake's like, okay, let's move on.
I am curious while we're on that point, Jake. I like to have you give your theories because it's exciting for me as a multiple time viewer.
Yeah.
Why would Hurley be on TV in South Korea? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I mean, just being on a television show of some sort, and then, other countries get like American TV just, dubbed over or, subtitled or whatever. So I assume it's something like that. Clearly it's something, it has to be something for him to be on TV like that. So I'm going to assume Hurley's an actor of some sort, or some kind of like, I don't know, like reality TV thing or something. I don't know. It's one of the two things. I'm gonna lean more towards actor, but that's my thoughts.
Hurley was on Survivor.
Yes, Hurley was on Survivor. Yes,
he is the sole survivor. Anything else on this flashback?
I think Jin is adorable. He's like, oh yeah, I'll go tell him you're unhappy. Sure, no problem. And like, we clearly know deliver a message does not just mean tell him you're unhappy. And the guy he's delivering the message to knows that. And Jin is just like, yeah, he's unhappy, but that's okay. You'll be fine. Like, it's adorable.
There's a great sketch show over here called That Mitchell and Webb Look, David Mitchell and Robert Webb. And there's a sketch where it's like a supervillain organization, and the main leader of it is like, I want you to deliver a message to such and such, or we need this person taken care of. And then the underlings are like, we've already discussed this. Can you not be so vague? If you want someone taken out and killed, let us know, because we keep making mistakes and we're not doing it properly. Stop being vague if you want someone killed.
Right, like this man was so sure he was gonna die that he gave up his dog.
Yeah.
Like, and Jin is still just like, la la la. I mean, okay, I guess I'll take your dog. Like, it's so cute.
But we also don't know in this moment how quickly this promotion happened. You know what I mean? So we don't know. Obviously, we know from the last flashback that left us off on their wedding night, where he's like, I have to prove myself to your dad, and those types of things. So we don't know if this is literally like day 2, he gets a promotion, which would make sense, where he's like, oh, sure, yeah, I'll deliver a message. But obviously the company of where he was at before this promotion, he's seen all the good sides. So it does make sense that he's not putting 2 and 2 together here.
Yeah.
Gregg, anything on this flashback before we move on?
Aside from the fact that Jin gives Sun a blackmail dog, that's
unknowingly.
I'm not a huge fan of the episodes where I have to read. Like I mentioned before, it's really hard for me to connect with the characters while I'm trying to sit there and read the entire dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that too, especially when you want to see what's going up, but you have to read what's going down below. But yeah. That does lead us back to the beach here. We have our Boone and Saeed moment, which we were briefly talking about, where Saeed comes up and he's like, so your sister and I are gonna become a little bit more than friends. And Boone's like, you fit the bill, because Shannon's an idiot. And she does this with every older guy that it was verbatim. That's what Boone said. I mean, I'm just quoting
Didn't say idiot. No one said idiot. That didn't
quoting
come.
the episode. I mean, that's what I heard anyway. But Boone gives him the impression that Shannon does this a lot with older men. She needs somebody to take care of. She wants them to take care of her. She's going to get whatever she wants from you, and then she's going to leave you. So I guess you fit the bill on this island. It's kind of where we have seen this moment of Boone, whatever he's doing, because we're later going to bring in Shannon yelling at Locke, which she's yelling at Locke because she wants to yell at Boone, but poor Locke is just in the moment.
Don't poor Locke him. Don't poor Locke him. He's fine.
I'm poor locking him because you don't do it enough.
He's just having dinner.
It was his rat dinner. Also, I mean, we saw from the raft moment that night that, Michael was blaming Jin. Obviously, with the raft, we had Sun come in and find him in the caves where he was, burned and said he was hurt. And she's like, so you actually did it? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, okay, really? And he takes off. So, back on the beach here, we do see that Jin has kind of spent the night alone. He's where he went to hide or whatever. But we see him kind of out there on his own. And then we do see my man Sawyer not, kind of be a jerk. But he did a really good roundhouse kick though to the face.
It was good.
But he does capture Jin to bring him back to the beach here. This is also where we see that Shannon has that moment. She's mad because Saeed has come up and is basically like, yeah, you're gonna need to take care of yourself. I'm not gonna be your sugar daddy on this island. And sugar daddy for however we're gonna be sugar daddies here. But we do see that this is where, she's like, you've been talking to my brother, haven't you? Well, if you can gather that, then yes, this is probably what you've been doing for all of your life, Shannon. So yes. All right.
Who cares? If she wants to, find older guys and be secure, that's up to her. I probably won't cover this when we cover the segment, so I'll just mention it now. Like, I was kind of disappointed in Saeed that he just took listened to Boone in that situation and was like, oh, I don't think we should hang out anymore. It's like, no, like, you're enjoying getting to know her. Fuck Boone. Don't listen to him. He's an idiot.
He has eyes.
I said
it. How worthless she is.
Right. I can always count on.
He can tell the truth from just what he said, that's what's going on.
Right. Like, he walks up to her and she's like, come help me with this. I can't tie a knot.
Oh, but you're not going to mention that she was actually helping? She was building shelter. She was doing things? No, that doesn't.
For herself. No one else. Because remember, she won't do anything for anybody else.
She's been there over a month and doesn't have shelter yet.
Oh my God. This is...
She's screwed on Survivor.
I love when Gregg has my back on Shannon. It's great.
I got everybody this episode. Everybody was a dick in some way. Like, Saeed went up and he's like, I'm about to bang your sister. And then he's like, hey, you kind of suck. And just kind of blows her off too. Like, everybody was kind of a dick this whole episode. Jin was kind of a shameless, disrespectful person in the very beginning. Like, he clearly lied about his dad being dead. He does whatever it takes to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a dick.
These are flawed characters.
It's not the new title's not in translation. Everybody is a dick.
He's a
dick move counter.
Yeah. Shannon, Kristin doesn't like Shannon. I don't like Locke. Gregg doesn't like anybody.
I like everybody.
I'm
Jake
indifferent.
Like, what the hell's happening?
Different.
Oh my God! I did not know that this is where the segment was going to go, but I
did.
Oh my God! All right, so let's get into this other this next flashback. Can't talk all of a sudden. This is where we have Sun. Obviously, we're well into our moments here where he's been working a lot, right? We can see that this is kind of Sun's like, I cooked you dinner for us to like sit down and have a dinner, please. Like, good night. To which immediately his phone rings. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, she worked really hard on a dinner. I should probably not answer this. So he puts it away. And he's like, tonight we eat. Like it's all about us. Just kidding. Now the house phone is ringing. And he's like, okay, yeah, I have to answer this. I just to see her like disappointment too. It's just like it's so they had such this beautiful that we see like the progression of it is that it was such a beautiful like these beautiful moments with them in the beginning to where they are now, where she's feeling very much ignored. Where now, then even later, we're at where we're at. But little old father-in-law is not happy. He is like, I have told you to deliver a message, and you did not deliver the message. Jin's like, I actually delivered the message. I don't.
He's like, yes, I did.
I'm still not understanding. I'm still not understanding how I did not deliver a message.
I was there. I got his dog. Do you
right. I mean, I have receipts.
Do you want the dog?
It's at my house. Poor Jin. He's just so like naive in this moment. But dad is like, here, I'm gonna send my associate. He's going to teach you how to deliver a message. Like, I'm gonna show you. And this is what I mean. I did not mean I could have emailed what you just did, which is why I did not email it. Like, this is what I mean by delivering a message. We see Jin driving this guy. He's putting on the gloves in the back. He said, you'll keep the car running. You will not drive any faster than the speed limit. To where Jin's starting to piece it all together. Like, you see him in the front seat going, oh, shit. Okay. Did not know I was going to be driving a getaway car tonight. Did not know we were going to be killing somebody tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this. So we see him park the car. He immediately jumps out. He goes up to, of course, the same house that he was supposed to deliver this message to forever ago. And they're all sitting down having this nice little dinner that he was supposed to be having with Sun. And he grabs the dad and he beats the crap out of him. Literally in front of his wife and daughter, like pounds this dude's face in. We do see in the background that the other guy that was coming to do a different type of message, but the same kind of idea, is in there like, oh, okay, he finally gets it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. But we do see Jin say, I just saved your life. Yeah. I just saved your life. You will open that freaking warehouse. Like, it is happening. Don't make me come back here. And it's this guy, like, I don't know why we're telling him this message because he's completely incoherent. He is delirious. Yeah. He just beat the crap out of him. But sure, yep, he definitely got the message. This is also where we get that flashback where it actually, like, we kind of know because they're leading up to one another, but this is where they actually kind of coincide together, where he comes home that night, where we see that from Sun's flashback where he came home and she goes into the bathroom and he's washing the blood off of his hands from beating this guy to a pulp. This is where we kind of see that first breakdown of whatever this relationship was, because she was still okay with slapping him because he pushed her out of the way, but he was like, I do this for us. Like, he's like basically in this moment like being unremorseful, and she's like, who are you? Because you have blood on your hands, you don't care, you just pushed me, which has never happened. And he's like, go away, I do this for you, I do this because your dad tells me to. And she just kind of walks away, which in our episode with Sun, that's where we left it, of her walking out of the bathroom door. Where here we get a little more, you see Jin break down. And I think that this moment is so impactful that again, we've talked about, he just wanted to love her. He was son of a fisherman. Like, he was just like this happy-go-lucky guy. And he's now turned into this monster who he doesn't even recognize. He is not who he wanted to be for his wife, and just completely breaks down. So I want to talk about this flashback before we get into the rest of it. Jake, where were you at in this moment? Like, you're already stressed. Look at you. Like, you're like, oh my God, poor Jin. What are your thoughts going into this flashback here?
Yeah, I mean, this was a very impactful flashback. And again, kind of showing that Jin just wants to do this for Sun and have her in his life. So he's kind of trying to do that by doing these things for her dad, and but doing it in a way where he didn't have to kill the guy, and he didn't want to kill the guy. So he makes it seem as if, like, he's still gonna get violent and beat the crap out of the guy, but he literally did save his life because otherwise the hitman was going to murder him. So, yeah, I feel very much for him in this situation, and again, I like that it recontextualizes the moment from House of the Rising Sun, and makes it, more understandable for who Jin is. So,
anybody else?
Yeah, I would just like to say that the hitman looked like some kind of Bond villain. He had this white suit and
white suit.
like, who is this guy? Where's his flashback? I want to know his story. But I also I think it's so interesting watching the two episodes, Sun and Jin episodes, where you assume that Jin is, I don't know, this cold-blooded killer and he's, ruthless. And then watching this episode, we see that he's done a good thing or the best that he can in the situation that he's in. And in a situation that he didn't want to be in, where he could just say, like, your dad is a piece of shit. Like, I'm in this horrible position. And he's putting himself as the victim, which we talked about in the Michael episode, where Michael kind of, for the good of Walt, makes himself the victim rather than say, hey, Ryan's a piece of shit, Susan's a piece of shit. He kind of takes it on himself. And there's also a really fun link between characters here. We see where Jin, the daughter, is looking at Jin in like horror and fear after he's beaten this kid's dad. We also have a similar moment in the Sawyer flashback, the first Sawyer flashback, where he's conning the family and he sees the kid and then he backs out of the deal. And there's a moment where the kid looks at Sawyer and Sawyer's kind of upset looking at the kid, knowing his own story. So I thought that was like a fun little duality between those two characters who were entwined in this episode together as well.
Anybody else?
I just want to shout out Sun for not knowing the proper time to smack somebody. He's just covered in blood, and you're just gonna smack the shit out of him in a bath.
Yeah.
I do think there is something to the I mean, I'll go more into it too as like the episode goes on, but maybe we get to characters later, but like the feeling of betrayal from Jin in terms of like, he really thought like, you just want me to deliver this message and I'm just going to go tell him that you're disappointed. Like, that's what he thought. And then like Sun later is like, what did my father make you do? Like, so you knew your dad was like this. You didn't tell me. And like, now I've done this thing that I can never undo. And you gave me no warning. Like, I see that, like, the pieces of that, like, feeling of betrayal, like, those little seeds being planted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's get into the biggest betrayal of all time. In our next clip, we're back at the beach. Sawyer has brought Jin here, and they're getting into it. We see that Michael is ready to kill Jin because obvious to him that he has burned the raft. We do see Jack trying to stop this. And, Sawyer's like, nope, like, watch out, and Saeed even says in this moment, like, this is between them and let him fight it out. Where Michael just, again, lays into Jin. Jin obviously can't say, I didn't do anything because he does not speak English. But lo and behold, out of nowhere, Sun yells, stop it. And everybody's like, wait, what? What just happened? I have to bring in Hurley's line here because they're like, wait, you speak English? And Hurley's like, didn't see that one coming. Because as we remember from back when he was fishing with Jin, he brings up to Jin, I heard you can speak English. There's a rumor that's going around that says that you're the one that speaks English. So it's kind of just funny, a full circle moment for Hurley to be like, I was joking in that moment, but one of them actually speaks English. Like, I did not see this coming. But also Jin is completely just mind blown, betrayed. What on earth? Like, just the look on his face. And we talked about phenomenal acting from a lot of our cast here. You read it all in his face in that moment. Everything that he's feeling, he's still pissed. He's upset that he's getting beat up. His wife lied to him. He's completely betrayed. He is sad because, oh my God, like, okay, you could have helped me out earlier. You know what I mean? All these things, and you see every bit of it on his face. So, I mean, I think that is like, I mean, obviously one of our huge reveals of this episode is that she has now told everyone that is there. So now it's not just Kate and Michael that know, every single person. But even all of them, like, why did you lie about this? Like, you could have helped us communicate with your husband, like all these things. So it's not just the betrayal on Jin, it's kind of everybody's a little bit feeling betrayed here of like, even Jack's like, why didn't you tell us all this before? Like, you could have done things, like, you know what I mean? So, again, I've always made the thing that they're, her reactions to when they're talking, like Kate obviously caught her in that moment, but again, Jack, there were a lot of moments that you could have figured this one out. We do see Walt and Michael have the moment after the raft is burned. Obviously, Jin takes off, this kind of disperses, and he's trying to salvage this, but you see again, Michael is like, we're talking about him being a good dad. He really just wants to get off this island and get his son out of here. And all of everything, all the frustration just comes out. And as a parent, I can tell you, you're punching pillows. You're like screaming into a pillow sometimes. This was Michael literally just having it out, but then realizing like, okay, it's all right. We're going to rebuild. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to like scare you or like upset you. Which is again another like huge moment for Michael to, again, what is this, like 2 weeks in now, 3 weeks in, wherever we're at, that he just got this kid, and for him to again in that moment be like, okay, I shouldn't have lost it in front of my kid. I'm so sorry. We're gonna it's fine. And then obviously we get to the moment here where Jin is just completely utterly pissed at Sun, doesn't want to talk to her. Which will lead us into our next flashback. So I'm gonna stop because that huge reveal does need to be talked about, and then I'll finish up the episode here. But Jake, what were your thoughts when she finally revealed herself to everyone?
Yeah, I figured it was gonna come out at some point, whether that was, at this point or later on down the line. But yeah, this was definitely crazy. Like in the midst of all this other stuff happening, this comes out because she also wants to protect Jin. So yeah, this was definitely a crazy reveal, and I'm happy that it's in the episode, but it's just also shocking because then it leads to, I thought with how they were going to do the flashback, and I know you'll get there, Kristin, but like,
yeah,
how just like, I did not expect Jin to just be like, we're done. I thought it was going to be a little bit happier, or a lot happier, and it didn't end that way. So I was actually very shocked about the outcome of that, but I can understand why he's going to feel betrayed, because she's basically lied to him the whole time, and like you said, Kristin, or phenomenal acting on the actor who plays Jin, because yeah, his face said it all. You could read it like a book. So very, very good.
Yeah,
and you see him like before she speaks up for him, you see him like looking at her like what do I do, like he knows this is not a good situation, and he doesn't, like, what am I supposed to do? And he's just looking to her, and like, to go from that like looking to like what, like I don't know what to do, to looking to being like so betrayed is like,
yeah,
well done. And again, yes, Michael just wants to be a good dad.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate, like, I think Michael for me is one of my favorite characters because for how much he wants to be a good dad for Walt, and like, I think his reaction to Jin is completely justified. Also, yeah, he gives a smackdown to Jin, so that was pretty crazy.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Jin did the same to him.
True, very true. So I mean, there's a lot of emotion there, and so I would say justified for Michael to react the way he did. So
I want to touch on a moment here, Kevin, because you brought it up, and I think it's something that people may miss as well, but should be looked at. We know that when he had left Sun, she had basically accused him like, I can't believe you burned the raft, and he's like, bro, what? And he left at that moment. He then comes back, he doesn't come back. He's drugged back by Sawyer to this beach. And to look up and see her again, like she's got this like skimpy top on. He's pissed. He is like, because we know from earlier, like one button, and he was like, no.
Yeah.
So like beginning of this episode, she had a bikini on. Now she's wearing a skimpy top around all these, and she just accused you of actually burning the raft. Like, he's pissed. So to see that reaction of he is so unbelievably pissed to when she reveals and his just like whole face drops is like I said, I mean, it's unmatched how well that face, like his whole facial features are, because that's the only way that he's communicating at this point. So I think that it's a little thing because it's that top. And he's like, son of a bitch, what are you doing? Why aren't you in the sweater and like all covered? He is not happy.
And yeah, like did you do something like what, like, you know, like, do they think I did this? What did you do to make them think that? And like all of that to then like oh, you speak English.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
worse.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the betrayal like even more of a betrayal.
Yeah,
like it's not, you know what I mean? So I think the Lost did an amazing job to set that whole scene up because it was just amazing.
Because even I felt bad for Jin. Like I felt bad for him. Like if they would,
you who thinks he's a dick.
It's almost like they took the subtitles away at that point, and he was in the same shoes as me. Like I had no idea what was going on, and nobody there telling me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the layers of it all at once just cracking, and like, and we see it on his face.
Well, son's a dick.
There's also one really cool production decision they did in this scene that's so like powerful, where everyone's shouting about Jin. They cut to Jin's face and the English is distorted, and you kind of hear it as he's hearing it, and it's again that isolation of just like everyone here on this beach is furious at Jin, and he has no idea what they're saying about him.
They did a very good job. They did a very good job of representing that isolation with things like that throughout this episode. It's one of like the subtle things they did really, really well.
Another very subtle thing that they did that I want to bring up, and this is the perfect point to do it, is putting the title, if you were to say I watched Lost in translation, the episode.
Yes.
Lost in translation typically is conveying a language barrier.
Yes.
So another like subtle thing that they threw in there for this perfect episode. But yes, so Lost in translation for the language barrier episode. Very like, again, good point for Lost.
And kind of represents a misunderstanding, which this whole thing is as well. Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever really thought about that, because not only is it called in translation, there's 3 dots at the beginning of it. It's like in translation, like so it is meant to go together.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I will point out the dick moment of I mean, it's not really a full dick moment, but John Locke being like, we need to stop blaming each other. There's somebody else here.
It's a great speech.
That was a dick moment. See, you talk about my irrationalness.
Because this is he's not going to be my word, but like, because he knows at this point it wasn't the others. It wasn't these other people on the island.
What's he supposed to do? Rat out the actual person right there?
No. But he is again being manipulative. Be like don't like be afraid and trust me because I know things, and I don't like that. Be afraid.
They should be though. They should be more concerned about this like guy that they don't know where he came from, and there could be more of them.
I mean, yes, but like I don't like the way he manipulates people.
All right, before he goes on a F.U. Lock moment, we're going to go to this flashback. This flashback is absolutely heart-wrenching, especially after where we just got left on the beach. We see Jin go visit his dad. Obviously, from the last flashback, we know that this is after he's, kind of now turned into this new hitman for her dad. We obviously don't know how much time is in between this. He does talk about where he's like, I have to go and do this trip, which was where they ended up on the island here. So we do know that it's kind of a substantial amount of time, because at that point we know that from Sun's flashbacks, that was kind of her breaking point where she starts to learn English and things like that. So we know that there's been some time. So he's really turned into who knows what type of, like, we got the like beginning of him becoming this horrible person, but we know that it's now probably insane. To which he goes to his dad because he goes to this fisherman. We're led to believe that dad is dead, but dad was alive all along, but he couldn't let anybody know. And he says it to his dad. He's like, I was ashamed of you and I'm so sorry. Like, and he's breaking down like, God, this flashback is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
If I had tear ducts, they would be like just running wild right now.
It's just so, again, well done by the actor too. Like he is defeated at this moment. He doesn't know what to do. And his dad, you know, obviously he's like, tell me about your wife, and he's still so much in love with her. He's talking about all these amazing things about her, which again still makes it so hard that they're at this point in their relationship. And which he does mention, I have to go to Australia, and then I have to go to LA. And we obviously know that that's where this plane crash happened. So I guess this is like last moment with his dad. So even, oh my God. But his dad says, let that be it. Let that be it. You guys stay in America. You go, like, whatever. Like, you guys stay there, go build a new life. Like, let this be the last thing that you do for him. Which, I mean, was that the plan? We don't know. I mean, we don't know. Like, would he have actually followed through with it? We don't know. But to see that that's where we had led up to this moment is, again, just a heartbreaking. Because then we saw, you know, from Sun's flashback in the airport, he, like, pulls out the flower. Like, it's all these beautiful moments. And then it's like he gets thrown on this beach and he's like, my wife's trying to show off her titties to everybody. Like, it's all like a thing. Like, he just gets thrown back into it. Then this ending is rough because Jake mentioned it earlier. We see her, you know, she's just revealed she speaks English. He's completely betrayed. He's at the caves. He's grabbing his stuff. He is moving out. He is pissed. He is like, this is basically island divorce right now. And she's like, but let's start over. Like, yeah. We both have done some messed up things. Let's just start over. This moment I think is, and it's so subtle. And again, like, lost putting these things in there. It's maybe people don't pick them up at this moment, but him going like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's start over. But then he like looks down at his hand and he's just like, no, like, look at all these things here. And he says, no, it's too late. And he walks off. But again, here's where it is. We see Sun obviously in the background crying. She's beside herself. Like, her husband's now gone. She just saved him, but like, at what cost? You know, she's been through so much with him in this time. And we see her breaking down. But what they don't spotlight, but it's there, is Jin is also breaking down as he walks away. And it's just like, I was crying in that moment. It's like, I'm tearing up just thinking about it because it's just so, they've been through so much. And so it's a really rough thing to see. Let me get off that because I'm going to keep crying. We do see that Shannon and Saeed, she comes up, little makeout sesh, like, we are now not friends anymore. We are friends with benefits. Let's get this thing going. That's all I'm going to say on it because I don't want to ever talk more about Shannon than I have to. And then we get to our next big reveal with Locke coming up to Walt. They want to play backgammon together. They're hanging out. He's like, it's been a while since we've hung out. Well, yeah, because Michael told you to stay away. I don't think you remember that, Locke. But at this moment, he goes, why did you burn the raft? And you're like, what? What? He burned the raft of all things. But here's our dick counter for Brian and Susan yet again, because he said, I don't want to move anymore. My whole life I've moved. So thank you, Susan, for doing that, and Brian for moving him from Italy to Amsterdam to Australia, all these things. You've now ruined a kid where he turned into an arsenic. So kudos to you. Great parenting. Ding, 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 dick, dick, dick. But yeah, so it is a big reveal that Walt was the one that burned the raft there. But the ending of this, the two things that I have to point out, because obviously Jin and Sun. Jin has walked up and we see that Michael's trying to work on this raft here. He walks up carrying supplies and he says, boat. He is now helping with the boat. This full circle moment that he thought he was the one that burned the raft. he didn't, well, we assume that he didn't burn the raft because we don't have any, explanation beyond that. And now him and Michael seem to go over to work together. But then the also other moment is Sun walking into the beach, revealing her bikini bod again, like, go girl, like, get it done. But God, again, like, I'm tearing up at the end of this episode where she walks into the ocean and you can just see her, as sad as she is that Jin is gone, it's kind of a relief, and her freedom is back, and just those moments in her, like in her facial, where the waves hit her for the first time and she's like, oh my gosh, like I can breathe again, like I'm okay. Like, again, amazing, amazing detail in just the smallest ways. So of course we ended with a very funny like moment with Hurley, and he's looking over at pregnant Claire, and poor guy, like he's just trying to live his life listening to his little like CD player. And kudos to the 2000s, because if you know, when that sucker dies, it is not fun. So that is how we ended the episode. A lot of emotion, a ton of emotion. So let's finish out, guys. What are your thoughts?
Oh boy, it's a lot to unpack. I already gave my thoughts like on Sun and Jin, like that being unexpected, but also I understand it. It just sucks for that, and like especially after the flashback with his dad, where like I mean I also get it as a thematic part of the episode of being like start a new life, and that's basically what they're doing away from each other, is starting a new life. So I get what it's saying there, but it just like I don't know. I thought when he was talking to his dad and it's like, kind of let the past die and they'll rebuild together. That's what I thought was going to happen. But that didn't happen. It was a good moment though with Jin and his dad. So that also was sad to see Hurley's CD player break or die. Yeah, that was extremely sad. And then Shannon and Saeed, I'm gonna talk about it now. I get that we've kind of had some buildup, sort of, in the past episodes. It still just doesn't feel earned. I don't really like the relationship between them in terms of like them being lovers. Like that, it just seems odd to me. So
Is it because Shannon's useless?
I wouldn't say because she's useless. I just didn't think. I mean, I know Saeed's super sassy to her, but like I just never really saw them together necessarily. So, but also like I mean, as like angry and childish as Boone is of being like she wants an older man to take care of her. Like I guess in a way like that's that is kind of what she is using Saeed for, at least. And I mean his feelings are genuine, but hers are kind of just she wants to use him for I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I've talked about like Shan's insecurities. I think I don't know. I think they're really sweet together. Like I do understand. I don't think like Shan's the most amazing character in the world, but I kind of see a deeper character there than maybe she gets credit for. And I also like he's hot, she's hot. You've got nothing to do on an island. Why not have sex?
I mean,
it doesn't have to be like
that's true. They are both good looking, so I will give them.
I
mean, I'd be doing the same if Shannon was up for it.
I would do the same with Sawyer, so yay for me.
There we go. The one moment I want to focus on this little section, that moment of Sun kind of shedding her skin in a way and stepping out. It goes back to, Kevin's going to hate this, but it goes back to what Locke was saying to Shannon about, everyone gets a fresh start on this island.
Yeah.
And over the course of these 17 episodes, we've seen that all the way through. And Locke is right. We've seen Kate manage to get away from her past and start a new life and be like a respected member of the community. Charlie's kicking the drugs. His son, is now free and starting her new life, although it's a complicated situation. Michael's finding a new life with his son. There's all these characters that are finding a new life for themselves here on this island. And, I just love all those character moments. It's so good.
Yeah.
I didn't see the same things y'all saw in the end scene this time. I saw Hurley, like his story this episode might be a little different than what I thought. Like he was reaching out to Jin, throwing him, putting a hand out, trying to console him, but also maybe he's all alone too. Like he's in his music, he's going, and then, the worst thing possible happens and his batteries die. So like I feel like there was more story there for Hurley than anything else, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true anyway. This is what I was looking at.
Yeah, he could also be having like not the same isolation, but also having isolation and feeling like people are coupling up and everybody has someone and like he's just there with his Walkman and now his Walkman's dead. Yeah, I do see that. Yeah, I do. I notice Hurley a lot more this time than I ever have before. So yeah, I see that. I love Jin's dad. I love him. He's such a like. It's just such a good juxtaposition too of like him versus Sun's dad, right? Like
yes.
That like he is just such a nice, positive person. Like not just like dumb nice, but like it's like no, like the world is a good place. Like this is a good place, and you can still do a good thing, and just like so supportive of Jin and still loves him, even though like he's been hiding his dad and like ignoring him, and like he comes to the fishing village in his suit, right? And he doesn't even care. He wants to help his son, and I love him. I think it's so well done the way they lead us to think that Jin is going to say yes, they are going to have a fresh start, because it's literally that conversation on the dock that's the last conversation before he gets on this trip to go to Sydney is this he wants the fresh start with Sun, right? Like so we of course think that like, oh, that's what he wanted and now she's saying that's what she wants, so obviously it's going to happen, and like those two just miss each other, and like it's just so good. It's so good. And I get both of them. Like it makes sense why it didn't work. Like because they want the fresh start at a different time, and so like it doesn't match up. And like again, the betrayal of like I don't know how much she understood because she's speaking in English, but like the trip where he was going to abandon this life that he's been trying to build, and like he was going to do all that in this trip, and she was going to leave him in this trip.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were going to leave me after everything I sacrificed for you, you were going to leave me. Like it's so well done. Like it makes sense why he didn't agree to the fresh start, like, and even though I love them together, I love both of them, but it is so great to see her have the moment of like, no, I am going to wear the bikini now. I'm going to wear the bikini and I'm going to enjoy the sun, and no one can tell me not to. Like, even though I love them together, like I also am very happy for her that she gets to do the thing that she wants to do, even though it breaks her heart to do it, like it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Such a good episode.
Agreed.
Well, all right, it's that time. Favorite, least favorite. Jake, kick us off.
All right. I'm between Sun and Jin for favorite. I feel like everything Kevin said and like kind of how I was feeling, I think I'm gonna go Sun. Also, she looks great in a bikini, so that's a plus. So I'll go with Sun for favorite. Least favorite, I'll go Mr. Pike, her father. Just because, again, he's manipulating Jin to do his dirty work and murder people. So
and in the process, manipulating his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, least favorite for me, easy.
Yeah, I'll start with least favorite because I think that I'd be surprised if we aren't across the board on this. But yeah, Mr. Pike is, I mean, just a twat. Like what a nasty bastard.
A guy.
Like he's one of those characters where it's just like there's nothing redeeming about this guy.
Right.
he's caused so much pain and suffering, killing people by extension, and he's ruined this relationship where they could have been perfectly happy. And money isn't everything, and that leads me to my favorite character. It's actually going to be Jin's dad. I think we do not see many positive father figures in this show. We've seen Jack's dad. We've seen it across the board, and even it's a small scene that we might get into later. But when Walt asks Locke about his dad, like, is he a cool guy? And Locke's like, no, he's not. So to see this guy who's just living a simple life, just a fishing village.
I love him.
He doesn't care about money and suits. He just wants his son to be happy, and he doesn't care that his son was telling people he was dead. He was ashamed of him. He's just immediately there for his son, and it's such a sweet scene. He has such a happy, smiley face. The actor who played Jin's dad did such a good job, just being so warm. And he was only in one scene, but he was amazing. I love Jin's dad.
Yeah, bring him back, hopefully, in more episodes, because I would love to see him more.
I have so many contenders for best character. I mean, also Jin's dad. I love Jin's dad. He's just such a good father figure. Michael, also,
yes,
a great father. And just like, without some other intervention, probably just like, yes, he gets frustrated, but he decides he's going to rebuild the boat with Walt. Oh, it's so good. But I mean, this is Sun and Jin's episode. I think if I'm only giving it to one of the two, I think I'm going with Jin, just because I think Jin. We all love Sun. We love Sun anyway, right? We already have that for her, and I think it's very easy to have previously dismissed Jin. And I think acting wise, we see a lot from Daniel Day Kim, and just like character wise, like I think he makes so much more sense and is so much more relatable after this episode. Mm-hmm. So I think I would go with Jin for favorite. Least favorite, I am going to mention a couple of people here because it's going to be Mr. Pike. Fuck Mr. Pike. We all know I do not like Locke. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. Sawyer did not help. Like, listen, bro. You almost caused these two to like beat each other to death. You could have left them separated, let them cool off, but no, you wanted to be a dick. I understand it's writing and it's just like how we get them together, but like, fuck you, Sawyer. I actually, of Shannon and Saeed, I think Shannon's the more believable one. Saeed's the one I don't really like fully believe in that relationship. Like, I think she really is trying to change. I think Saeed just, I don't think that actor plays the encouraging boyfriend very well. And so I don't believe him as much. So I'm not going to hate on Shannon here, but no, it's Mr. Pike. Pike, he is so terrible. He's such a bad person. Like even the bad stuff that's happening on the island is happening because of the stuff that he did. He is just the worst. Like, he is worse than John Locke on John Locke's worst day. He is terrible. Easily least favorite character of the episode. Just such a bad guy. Just the way he manipulated Jin and ruined Jin instead of just letting his daughter be happy. Like, we have two good parents, and then they have the shitty parent right there. Mm-hmm. It sucks.
Greg? I'm excited to see Greg since he said everybody was in it. I'm at the edge of my seat right now.
For favorites, I'm going to say Michael. Like, I feel like this is the first time he's giving a little bit of thought into being a dad on the island, more than just, I need to get off the island. And then as far as least favorite, I have to go, unfortunately, with the little dick, Walt. He burned down the boat. I mean, there's so many ways you could have gone about it. Hey, Dad, I don't really want to leave the island. We're in a tropical paradise. How about we just build a better place to live? No, he burns down the raft. So
straight to awesome.
Walt's a dick.
God, I love it. All right, so yeah, I'm right here with Michael.
Tell us why Sawyer is the best and Shannon's the worst. Just get it over with.
I mean, I've done that so much. I feel like people need a break, but clearly Sawyer is the best and Shannon's the worst. But no, it's Jin's dad. Jin's dad, hands down. But also, like, again, we've brought this up before in other episodes. Like Ethan, wasn't there very long. Huge impact. His dad is so impact. I mean, I was like about to bawl again on this podcast because of the impact that man had. It's just hands down brilliant performance, brilliant character. Like you guys have all mentioned, like I don't need to harp on it too much. Like I don't care if he showed up in an expensive suit. I don't care that you said you're ashamed of me. You're my kid.
Right.
I feel like that's how any parent feels. Like I don't care who you are in life. I'm going to love you. Like you are my kid first and foremost. And so he just is like to be able to center Jin again, where Jin is just defeated again, and he's able to bring him back. I love that man. All right, so least favorite, surprisingly, is not Shannon.
Gross.
But I'm torn. I'm torn here. But I am gonna solidify it, but I want to give my honorable mention before I solidify it. Honorable mention is Brian and Susan. Little did we think that they were going to get brought up again, but they created an arsenic because of all the times that they moved to keep poor baby Walt away from Michael. So shout out to Dick, Brian, and Susan. Ding, 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 ding. But
Ding,
no,
ding, ding.
doubling down. It's Pike. Like, come on. This guy is just, oh my, you know what? There's not many, like even Brian and Susan, they are horrible and he's right there with them, but like, man, oh man, what you caused. I mean, even like you guys mentioned, like all the stuff on the island is too because of him too. We mentioned that that's the first he attacked Michael like all those episodes ago because of the watches that he was supposed to be delivering for
Yes.
him. So we're talking about like your impact on, and not a good way, a very negative, horrible way. But it's just it's insane. So yes,
Right.
hands down, Pike. You can rot in hell.
All right. Well, now we get to go to our episode rankings. On that note, so Michael, where do we stand on the episodes right now?
Yeah, I'll give 1 to 10, and then we'll see where we stand with that. So from 1 downwards, we have Walkabout, The Pilot Part 1 and 2, Confidence Man, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, House of the Rising Sun, Solitary, Raised by Another, Outlaws, Homecoming, and coming in at number 10, it might not be there for much longer, White Rabbit.
I think it's getting bumped this time.
My White Rabbit.
White Rabbit's gonna go.
That is for me. I think this is better than House of the Rising Sun. Like I think between the two, I think this is better. So I'm gonna put it number 5. I think this is a really good episode. A lot happens, and you get a lot of important character development. So I think for me, this is a no-brainer that it should be number 5.
Yeah, I think this goes. No, I
Go
think it goes right above House of the Rising. Like they go together, and like the flashbacks intertwine with each other. But I do like. I think because we end up really like caring about both characters at the end of this.
Yeah.
I think this is the better one.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it's tricky where obviously we're deciding this by committee, so there's some episodes lower than House of the Rising Sun that I'd maybe have higher than this one, but I do think that this is stronger than House of the Rising Sun. So I think for that I need to put it just above House of the Rising Sun. So I think them sitting together, this is almost one continuous story.
Yes.
And this second half of that story is stronger than the first half. So yeah, I think that would be my placement of it.
This sounds about right for me. I'm good. Ugh. Again, I am not a fan of having to read my TV shows, but the content of the episode was very important. Lots of things were brought out. There was lots of what the hell just happened moments, and I'll give it a 6.
Okay.
Good one. Good spot. Cool.
I'm definitely agreeing with you guys on this one. I've been judging my episodes based on like what we're getting on the beach and off the beach. And I feel like this was jam-packed. I mean, this is probably going to be one of our longer podcasts because of how much information we had to talk about, not just on the beach, but in those flashbacks as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree. I almost would have put it a little even higher, but I'm fine with putting it at 5 there, or wherever it lands above Rising Sun. But yeah, just stellar episode.
I think that's such a good point. It was a very dense episode. Like we've talked about how some episodes the on island was stronger and some episodes the flashback was stronger. This was one where the entire thing was like just bang, 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 bang. Yeah, agreed.
Yep. So
what? 4 5s and a 6.
Oh yeah. So if it was above House of the Rising Sun, it would be the new number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's so White Rabbit does
Hi,
go.
White Rabbit.
The one time too that I think I made John Locke my favorite character of that episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right.
That's probably why.
Number 1 is a John Locke episode, so that ain't going anywhere.
I wasn't there for that one, so I don't have to admit to liking him that episode.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, that's 17 episodes down. We're almost through season 1 in a short time, few weeks. Also, we do have it planned to probably do a special fun celebration after concluding season 1. I think we just talked about it. So just doing something a little silly at the end of it to celebrate our finishing the first season when we do. Anything else from you guys? Are we ready to close this out and send you guys to spoiler section?
Send us to the spoilers.
All right. Well, from me, I'll see you next time on the Tribe of Nerds.
Fuck you, John Locke.
Hello, everyone. We are here for Tribe of Nerds After Jake for our Lost spoiler section. If you have not seen Lost in its entirety, and I mean the entire series, get out now. Move it. While you still can. This is my moment where I give you all this time in the world so you don't regret your decisions. You should be gone by now, but I'll give you one more measure. All right, there we go. Let's go. Let's get into this.
Now we can talk about when the aliens land on the island. It's going to be so exciting.
So
I hope you're gone.
In dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs. We get to spoil a lot. I'm so excited. First and foremost, let's just jump into Hurley. Hurley being on the screen, we obviously know because that's coming up next episode.
Right?
So exciting. But also, like, kudos to Lost for like, why is Hurley on my screen? I want to know. And then they're like, oh, you only have to wait a week. It's so fine.
Right.
If I was doing that, I would make them wait. Like,
right. You would make people wait forever. You would have it on the TV in the background.
But also, why did we have to wait 18 episodes for a Hurley episode when people were getting double episodes?
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
And they also remind us. They remind us of the thing with Walt as well, but the price has increased. Where in like episode 5 or whenever it was that they played backgammon, Hurley owed him like $18,000, and now when we see him talking to Locke, he's up to $83,000. So we're going to see next week that Hurley has the money to pay that.
Hurley can pay that off. It's no problem.
He sure does. Also, I mean, Jin and Sun, we obviously know that this fight is going to continue for some time, until obviously he leaves the island. Like, he's on the raft. But like they leave. I mean, their farewell is like they're not fighting anymore, but like he still goes. Like, he's like, I have to leave, I have to get you off this island. So that's where they do kind of somewhat come back together, but they're not together. Like, he's still leaving her. But man, like, Kason and I just got to that episode not a couple days ago, but that reunion when he comes back is just like, oh, like you just bawl because they're running towards you. It's just such a beautiful moment. But yeah, so we do know that this lasts quite some time where he just doesn't talk to her and all kinds of things, which are also going to lead up to a little poisoning too.
I do think it's interesting how we have this idea, like I shouldn't say we have the idea, but like the other people from the plane have this idea that he's like super controlling and aggressive, but like when he's mad at her, he just doesn't talk to her.
Right.
Like he's actually not like that at all, but like that's what people see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's so much that Jin is so complex. Like, I mean, even going all the way into the finale, like he just is always wanting to protect her and like be there for. Oh, like I mean, just even in submarine, like it's just I can't. I can't. It's just not. It's too much. Too much. When you think about these two people, like who we aren't normally always like focused on in Lost. Like they're main characters, but they're like side main characters, right? Like you have like the main ones of like a Jack Sawyer Kate kind of situation. Right. So they're there and they're talking and like they're on the main cast. They're not a Scott and Steve, but we're not focused on them a lot. So they're kind of, but man, when they are focused on it, it hits you where it hurts, man. It's a gut punch.
And they're both such good actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like also future spoiler for future seasons, seeing Sun like start to like have that self-confidence that then was it 4 or 5 when she takes on her dad and like takes over the company. Like, good for you,
takes
Sun.
the company, yeah.
Good for you, Sun.
And like she's even going up to Charles Widmore, and she does.
I was just
like,
going to bring that up.
That confidence.
When she goes up against Widmore of all people, like she's like, listen here.
Right. She becomes so much more like strong, independent woman, and we love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like we start to see it here. She takes the blanket off, the towel off.
My favorite part about this is the fact that we won't have as many subtitles because she can speak English now.
And Jin does try.
What's wrong with subtitles? Just watch it.
I do get where Gregg, because like I mean, so a very good like point of it is like Passion of the Christ. If anybody's ever seen that movie, it's a completely like, I mean, Mel Gibson did a really good job in Passion of the Christ, whether you're a believer or not. But what's hard about that is he did try to keep it as strictly to Hebrew and make it very much authentic. And like reading that, you don't get to see what's happening on the screen above you because you're so focused on reading it that you miss all the emotion and the power of what's happening on your screen. So I can understand where Gregg is coming from on that moment, but
absolutely.
And this is the show that you have to pay attention to everything on the screen at all times. That it just makes my brain hurt.
No, but I love them throughout this whole series, and like they're always kind of like this. They're always kind of never able to be on the same page until the very end.
Yeah,
until the last
moment.
And
so often never together. Like we see the development often separately. Like, you know, like Kristin said, at the end of the season, Jin's going to be gone. They don't come back together until like a third of the way through season 2 from the top of my head. Then, you know, there's going to be the whole freighter thing. And Sun's not going to see Jin again until literally like the 4th, 5th to last episode, which is going to end in disaster very quickly after that. It's like they spend so much time apart looking for each other. And the development of them in those moments is so good. And like Jin especially, I feel like Jin is a character that his arc from season 1 to 6 is crazy. Like, especially when you get like Dharma Jin, where he speaks fluent English.
Right.
It's like you can barely recognize the guy as the same. Even looks different. It's bizarre. When I watched like the first couple of episodes with Jin, he looks so like his hair's short. He's very like stern and then we get this happy-go-lucky Jin in the last couple of seasons. It's such a good transformation for him.
Yeah, I mean, I even want to like. We're coming up to on one of my favorite scenes of all time is with the Dharma van. Just the excitement that going from our first season here with him, where he is that like kind of a jackass from what we're seeing. We obviously know he's not, but to go from that to them riding around in this little Dharma van, and he's the biggest smile on his face. He's like having a good old time. So, yeah, it's a huge. I mean, I think that this is like the transition into where we're gonna get with Jin here later on. I want to bring up another spoiler. We have the moment where Locke, Kevin's favorite, is bringing up. They've attacked us. They've sabotaged us. They've murdered us. We already know who they are. They are the others. And we're going to be getting a little bit more and more and more of them as the season or as the series progresses.
Well, that's Jin's first words is others.
Other. Well, no, he said boat.
Oh.
He said boat.
Okay, but like
his second word? No, just kidding.
That's like the first time that he like has, I don't know, like boat is like a very like one word, I know what you mean, whereas like others is a much more like clear.
But I think what
warning.
Yeah, I think what you're kind of getting at too is that he understood what, like when they were like the others are coming, like he was picking that up. But yeah, as we know in this finale that's coming up, we've got the others are coming, and then we're gonna take the boy, and you're like, wait, what? So we know that that's coming up. We know in season 2 where they go after Michael, and we have another great, amazing line, "Light 'em up," where we see that it's not just a couple of them. There's a lot. There's a lot. And then moving forward,
such a good scene.
It's one of my favorites. Kaysen has officially said that his favorite line so far of where he's watched is "Light 'em up," which is just to prove how powerful that episode or that season was, or you know what I mean, moment is.
Right.
But then also to even go even further, because then we're gonna get Henry, Gale, Ben, and then we get into the whole compound. Like this is a whole like civilization. So I love that this is kind of where Locke is bringing up, like, because we had started off with Ethan, but then we're bringing up like they've sabotaged us. They're here. We keep mentioning them. How many are there? What, like, oh, okay, it's like 5 people on a boat. Okay, cool. Like, not horrible. We can take that on. Then we've got, light them up where you can clearly see you're surrounded, So I think that this is kind of where we get that moment of where, like, what are these others and how many are there? So
and there's others.
Others too. Yeah. Gosh.
This will be a war that kind of goes on between the survivors and the others until like season 4 it kind of ends when they start to get on the same page when like another threat comes into the islands.
Yeah.
But like the first 3 seasons, it's a real back and forth between the others, and kind of culminating in that season 3 finale where they stand up for themselves finally with the dynamite and stuff. So yeah, I break down the show into BB and AB, before Ben and after Ben. So I can't wait to get to my favorite character in the history of television. I've got so much to say about Ben.
It's, just because I know Kaysen is ahead of us at this point, but like, I can't wait to see Jake because Henry Gale is so convincing. Like,
so convincing.
It's
when I rewatched it, I was like, I've seen this show before. I know. And I'm still like, this guy's good.
Yeah, well, even like, because Kaysen has not had the reveal yet. We're not there yet, but like, he's like, I don't understand why they haven't let him out yet. Like, I'm not, obviously this guy came on an hot air balloon. Like, he's invested. He's like, he is a Henry Gale. So yeah, kudos to Ben. I cannot wait for us to get to Ben because
best actor on the show.
But also,
unbelievable,
like,
Michael.
But also on top of it, though, like we go from him not only being another to like the leader, like in the finale,
and he even has the "if I was the leader" lines, which is great for show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I want to bring up a part too with Locke. So this is where Kevin can hate on Locke. Locke brings up to why would anybody deliberately hinder our efforts to get off the island? Well, funny you should mention that, Locke, because you do it quite a bit. You yourself, you only
in the past, present, and future. That's all you're trying to do.
That's all you ever do is try and hinder. So it's just kind of a funny situation that is the line coming from Locke.
It really is so manipulative, and so like I really don't like that he then tells, well, I like it here too. Like that's so manipulative of a child. Like,
yeah, I mean we know that he hit Saeed. We know that like the seagull situation coming up with Claire. We know the blowing up of things, and yeah, there's a lot that you were doing, Locke.
He's gonna throw a knife into somebody's back.
He kills what's
I know. It's Naomi
kills her to keep them on the island. Like,
yeah, no, it's one of those. I just thought I had to bring that up because it's of all the people that says that line, you're the only one that's actually deliberately stopping people. I want to bring up a funny because I always have to talk about Sawyer, but we know that he's famous for his nicknames. This one is an easily missed one. So when Sun obviously is like, my husband's not a liar. he goes, okay, like you got a lot of nerve talking about lying, Betty. He's
Betty.
referring to Betty White. She was on a show called The Liars Club. And so he's referring to that's why he calls her Betty, is referring to Betty White.
Okay.
I love me a Betty White and I love me a Sawyer, so I have to bring them up because rest in peace, Betty White. Love you. But
What a power couple that would be.
right? Oh, God. Also, I mean, he mentioned, Lord of the Flies and stuff too. That's going to become a thing. Obviously, when he's talking to Ben, and all of the things that go into that. So yeah, a lot of little hints of future things in this episode as well. So that's what I mean. I'm so glad we placed it high because again, not only is it jam packed full of stuff, like it's foreshadowing a lot too. So. Anything else you guys want to get to before I get to the only number I heard mentioned in this episode?
I mean, just the heartbreak of Walt burning the boat, Michael insists on rebuilding it with Walt, and that's how Walt's going to get kidnapped. Like, just the unfair irony of that. But
yeah,
Yeah.
I love
we covered everything I had.
Yeah. What'd you say, Michael?
We covered everything I had. So yeah.
Cool. We'll go into the numbers if you're on this train with us. I heard it one time, Greg. I hope that maybe you heard it more. We heard that it was 4. We were talking about with the numbers being the 4, 8, 15, all that. Did you hear it any other time, Greg? Am I the only one?
I didn't hear it, but apparently Jin punched the guy 8 times.
Oh, see, all these leather ones, they get me every time. I was clearly able to see the 8 in the ceiling for Michael, but these punches and the shots and all these things, they get me every time.
no, it was the four people on the boat. That was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and I didn't have any fun, light or dark moments either in this episode, but so that was our other one that we've been covering. But if you're catching any of those and we're not, please leave them in the comments. But again, remember spoiler all the way down and then put the comment. But also ask us any questions about Lost that you want. We will address them on the podcast, whether with Jake or without Jake, if it's a spoiler.
Ask us spoiler questions. Ask us questions that'll make us argue with Kristin and, tell her that.
Also tell us how much you hate Shannon.
It's terrible.
With that, we're leaving the spoiler section for In Translation. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Do it. You won't be disappointed. So with that, we'll see you guys next time for After Jake.